How would you like a super long monopod that's even longer than the Telesin selfie stick?
How would you like a lightning fast way to attach your 360 camera to your monopod? How about a 360 camera light that isn't upside down for any 360 camera and any monopod? Here are 11 astonishing 360 camera accessories you've probably never seen before. So accessory number 1 is a super long monopod. Now if you've been shooting with 360 cameras, you probably know about the Telesin. It's a really long monopod, great for drone-like shots, but it has a couple of limits. Number 1 is it can bend a lot, especially when it's fully extended. Second, it can only be extended to specific lengths. So for example, I can extend it here, like that, but not in between. Now if you love the Telesin, forget about it. This thing is obsolete because now there's a better alternative. Check this out. This is the Coolertron.
Coolertron has 4 major advantages over the Telesin. First, it's much longer than even the Telesin. The Telesin is 106 inches, but the Coolertron is 138 inches. Second, the Coolertron can be adjusted to any length thanks to 3 twist locks. Third, the Coolertron is much stiffer. It's not gonna bend as much as the Telesin.
And it has a special feature. It's actually hollow. You can unscrew this top and pass a cable inside of it. You can route a lav mic or let's say a power cable. Now the disadvantage is that it's not as compact as the Telesin when you've collapsed it. The other thing is that it uses 3/8 connectors here and at the bottom. Now speaking of which, here's accessory number 2. It's what I call a stand for all seasons. This is the Manbily MT-02. It has a special connector that works with both 1/4-20 tripod holes and 3/8/16 holes. No adapter needed. I also love how it has 2 angles. You can use it at this angle or give a twist here, and it can be used at a flat angle. It also has a very wide base like this, or you can collapse it individually. Now the disadvantage is that with this attached to your monopod, your stand will not be pocketable anymore. Speaking of which, here's accessory number 3. It's a quick release for any monopod. Now with this quick release attached to your monopod, you can attach your monopod to your stand really quickly. Attach, detach, attach, detach, and it's super secure. It has a lock here and it's not going to be coming out. And release the lock, press this button, release. Now you may be wondering, can you use that for your 360 camera? Well, not quite. It's a little bit too large for that, but that leads me to the next accessory. Now here's accessory number 4. It's a quick release for any 360 camera. With this accessory, you can quickly attach or detach your 360 camera from your monopod. Attach, detach. And it's low profile, so it's invisible. It's called the Cupo, and when you get it, there's actually a thumb nut that will be too wide for most 360 cameras. So all you have to do is just remove that thumb nut, and instead you can use a 1/4-20 nut to tighten the adapter to your camera. By the way, I'm sure at least some of these accessories are totally new to you. So if you want unique information and techniques about your 360 camera that you won't find anywhere else, hit subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Switching gears to accessory number 5, an epic Edelkrone clone. Now you've probably seen those ads for the Edelkrone Jib 1. It is super cool, right? I love products from Edelkrone. They're always really clever and super useful. The only thing is they're always expensive. Whatever I think the price is for an expensive one, it's gonna be like double that. Now I'd love to have the Edelkrone Jib 1. It's a very compact and motorized jib. The only problem is the cost. It's $12.99, and that is just so it can move along one axis. It won't be able to rotate. If you want it to rotate, you need to add another motorized rotator such as the Head Plus, which is $17.99 for a total cost of, let me see, $3,100. Now, what if I told you that you can get similar effects with an accessory that costs a fraction of that? This is the Slypod. It's a motorized slider plus monopod.
When you combine the Slypod with the 360 camera, you can capture incredible shots, just like the Jib 1 with the Head Plus. You can even use it to go through small gaps that would be difficult for the Jib 1. The Slypod can also be used at slow speed for time-lapse motion videos.
And yes, you can control it wirelessly. Now, how much is it? It costs around $299. That's less than a tenth of the cost of the Edelkrone Jib 1 with a Head Plus. Now, to be fair, the disadvantage versus the Jib 1 is that the maximum travel is much smaller compared to the Jib 1. Also, the support is not exactly as elegant. There's a 1/4 20 tripod hole and a 3/8 hole here, and sometimes I find it's a little bit off balance, and I need to, adjust the tripod very carefully, adjust the tripod head, add extra supports, so on and so forth. But it works really well for a fraction of the cost of the Edelkrone Jib 1. Here's a tip: when you're using the Moza Slypod, the buttons are at the base of the Slypod. So when you're holding it like that, it's kind of hard to press the buttons. It's almost like you have to use two hands, one to hold the monopod and another to press the buttons. But if you attach a monopod to the base of this thing, like this, then you'll be able to hold it like this from the monopod and press the buttons with just one hand. Next, I want to show you an accessory for a common problem with 360 cameras. I'm talking about low light. Now, as you know, most consumer 360 cameras use very small sensors that don't do too well in low light. Now, with regular video cameras, you can simply attach a light. But with the 360 camera, attaching a light is not so simple. So for example, here's the Theta Z1. I have a video light here, and there's no place to attach it. There's no hot shoe here or anything like that. Second, even assuming that there was a hot shoe, a 360 camera sees everything. So if we place it here, for example, then it's going to show up in the video. And third, remember that we're shooting in 360 degrees. This video light is only in one direction. So what about the rest of the image? It won't have any light. So here's accessory number 6. It's a 360 camera light called the Halo. It's a 360 degree LED light with 5 brightness adjustments, and you can also adjust the color temperature from warm to cool. Now, how bright is the light? For virtual tours, I think it's not bright enough to illuminate a large room, but it could be okay for smaller rooms that are dark. Now, it could be useful though for vlogging, especially in low light conditions. In fact, let's try it out. So what's great about this is that it's 360 degrees, and it's also not that obtrusive. When it's here at the bottom, it actually casts a shadow that kind of obscures the light itself, so it doesn't look too obvious in the shot. Now, the only thing is that it's a little bit bright for vlogging at night. Even at the lowest setting, it can look a little bit blown out, but it's still much better than not having a light. The other issue is that, as you saw, the light looks a little bit unnatural. Now, why is that? That's because the light direction is coming from below the camera and below us. So it's an upside down light. And usually in Hollywood movies, that's associated with things like creepy scenes, horror scenes. and not exactly a look that we're always looking for. That leads me to accessory number 7. This is the tiny PT21. It's a little accessory that can help you attach accessories to the side of your 360 camera. Now, can we use the PT21 with the Halo? Well, not quite, for a couple reasons. Now, the problem is that even if we could attach the Halo to this, it's so large that it will block a significant portion of the image. And the other thing is that if we put the Halo beside the 360 camera, then it's going to cause a lot of glare. So no, we can't use the PT21 with the Halo. Now the PT21 can work with other LED lights, such as this Ulanzi light. Now the problem though is that number one, this thing is way too bright, and second, it's only unidirectional. So is there a way to move the light to the top of the camera? But how? Now I've tried different brackets until I finally figured out how to do it. But first, let me show you the difference that it makes. First, here's a shot of the Halo attached to the bottom of the 360 camera. Now, here's the Halo with the bracket that I found. Not only is the light direction way better and way more natural looking, but I can also simultaneously add the other LED to add even more light. And I can even use my Rode Wireless Go. So what accessory is this? Well, it's accessory number 8, what I call the super bracket. And you're wondering, how does this solve the issue? So remember how we looked at the 360 camera and it was attached to the monopod and we couldn't find a good place to attach a light? Here's the key. Here's the key. I realized that we didn't have to attach the 360 camera to the monopod. Not only that, but the 360 camera doesn't have to be upright at all. It could be attached sideways or even upside down. Now you're starting to get it. So here's what I did. I attached the monopod to this bracket. And then I attached my camera upside down beside the monopod, not on top of it. And that left me free to attach anything on top, such as the Halo. Or if I wanted to, I could attach another light or a Rode Wireless Go with a hot shoe adapter. This design has a lot of benefits. First, it works with almost any consumer 360 camera. I don't care if you have an Insta360 or Ricoh Theta or GoPro Fusion, GoPro MAX, Kandao Qoocam. This works with almost any 360 camera. It also works with any monopod as long as you have a Q20 connector. And you can attach any kind of light. It doesn't have to be the Halo. As you saw, we can attach even a regular video light. Now, did you know that there are other unique information on this channel too? See this video for some of them. Now, one issue with the video that you might have seen is that it's still a little bit too bright. So that leads me to accessory number 9. This is the super slim LED light. It's called Shoot Photo T12. It has really minute controls and you can adjust it up to 1%. And here's 100%. Not only that, but it can also be used to simulate any color. Let's try this. And it also has special effects like simulating lightning or police. And my favorite feature is that it's super slim. It's about the thickness of a smartphone. So it's definitely not going to show up in your video, even if you're using a thin camera like the Ricoh Theta or the Insta360 One X. Now, great video is good, but it's nothing unless you also have good audio. So accessory number 10 is an affordable and decent quality Rode Wireless Go clone. Now, I've tried other wireless mics, and the problem with some of them is that they use a different frequency as the Rode Wireless Go. So they use a lower frequency that's more easily uninterrupted. This one though, it uses the same 2.4 gigahertz frequency that's resistant to interruptions. Now the only problem with this is that there's currently no hot shoe mount for it to let it mount vertically like this, so it wouldn't be visible in the shot. So for that, I'm going to challenge you guys, because there's actually a 3D mount for the Rode Wireless Go. I'm going to post a link to it, and I'm going to invite you to modify it so that we can have a mount for this. And if you're the first, maybe you can even make a buck out of it. Now, are you looking for a secret ingredient that can make your videos look more cinematic? Here's accessory number 11, ND filters for the Insta360 One R. Only works for the One R, doesn't work on other 360 cameras yet. So what are ND filters for? Well, ND filters have many uses for both photos and for videos. So with photos, you can use them to make long exposure photos, even in brighter conditions. So for example, with this, I can shoot an exposure as long as 1 second in, let's say, a late afternoon, where otherwise I would be shooting at a much higher shutter speed. And with a 1 second exposure, the photo can look more dramatic. ND filters are also useful for videos. They can make them look more cinematic by reducing the shutter speed and adding a little bit of blur that's more associated with film rather than video. They can also make jello less noticeable.
In my next video, I'm going to show you why a commonly used technique doesn't work and what you should do instead.
Don't miss my next video. I'll see you in 360.